favorite psalm? The Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
you want to do the next one too as well, all together, or do you want someone to say?
You guys, we talked about what we were gonna do a long time ago,
But
so
I
now
can't
we've forgotten what we're doing.
Okay, so, Joe, you want to read the Lord's Prayer?
Okay,
I mean, Psalm 23.
if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long.
Okay, good. So next we're going to go with what they call reflections. And what we're going to do is start with Gilbert and give him a few thoughts of what we're little to honor my mom. I don't know if you noticed the candles because it is her birthday. We also have flowers because she always loved flowers. We have her ashes, and we also will have a little anointment of the flowers here. So we wait for Nellie. She went to go get some soup. So next we're going to go in order. Gilbert will say a few wishes and thoughts and reflections. And then Nellie will do it, and I will do it, and Nora will do it, and then we'll open it up to anybody else who wants to say a few words. You don't have to, we just want to share our love and our and her life. Okay, so Gilbert, you want to get
Okay, I was going to start with a poem that stood out when I found it, and it's something my mom probably would say, probably in Spanish though. But the name of it is When Tomorrow Starts Without Me. When tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand. The angel said my place was ready in heaven far above, and that I'd have to leave behind all those I dearly love. But when I walked through heaven's gate, I felt so much at home, for God looked down, smiled at me, and told me, welcome home. So when tomorrow starts without me, don't think we're far apart. For every time you think of me, I'm right there in your heart. So I like that.
Yeah, that's
So,
beautiful. Okay, now you ready?
And that was something I was just going to say, that when we get together like this, I think her presence is there. That all of us, all of our auras or whatever, somehow manifests and emanates from here. Obviously, if she's in heaven or we don't know, she will be amongst us, watching us. And other reflections I have is probably when I was younger, when my dad passed away when I was 9.5, going on 10. I easily could have gone the wrong way. We were living in East Los Angeles, and I could have. There were local kids all around, and I hung out with them in the evening, and they were. I don't know if the girls know, but we would run around, and they were very mischievous. I mean, if we saw some kid left a skateboard on the front lawn, we'd take it. you know, stuff like that. And then that continued when we in Southgate. You know, my mom had to act also, trying to learn English at that time because when my dad passed away, she knew hardly any English. So she had to learn English, and of course she had to watch over us and earn a living. And fortunately, I started going towards the dark side as well. You know, as a 10-year-old, maybe 11, 10, 11, just not as bad as in East LA, but I know one time we found like cigarettes. So me and my a neighbor friend, and we were caught smoking a cigarette. So, and you wonder, well, how is my mom going to discipline me? And she found a way to do it by uh, get to my psyche. She would tell me, what kind of example am I setting for the rest of my sisters. So I straightened out, and luckily, and so it was difficult since my mom had to act as a father as well as a mother. And then as she learned English and then also went to nurse's assistant school, we had to translate a lot for her. I remember staying up after doing my homework, helping her with her homework and translating her homework. And I think Nellie did some of that too, but those are early reflections, and that just made me want to study more. That seeing my mother studying for her career now that she's starting, and, it's those are lasting memories, and uh, I know that when it reminds me of a passage in the Bible. I don't recall exactly where Jesus is about to get crucified and talking to his disciples, and there's, they're wondering what they're going to do without him, and Jesus says, "When you are gathered in my name, uh, I will be there with you in spirit." So I think when we gather, I mean, we know my mom is with the angels, that they will allow her to be with us in spirit when we gather all together. So my mom is amongst us here. So otherwise, of course, even the more recent memories just to come forward with. I spent a lot of time with her. Obviously, the last since I moved up here in 2020, spent more time with her than I did before, and I could see her unfortunately decline just from up to the last few months. But she was always so strong. When I walked with her, I would say, "Well, let's turn around now." And she said, "No, I could keep going." And we would keep going. We would keep going past. There's 2 blocks before the school, 2 streets, I think, or 1 street. But she always wanted to walk to the school, the Mendez school, because she wanted to see the kids playing. And that's a little bit further, so we would always go that far. Even the last time I walked with her, even though the last couple of weeks I walked with her, she had her walker with her. The walker, even though she wasn't hardly using it, she would keep walking, and I kept telling her at the end of this street, she would turn around, and she said, "No, I want to keep walking." And then I walked to the next street, and the same thing, she wanted to keep walking, so we went all the way to the Mendez school so she could see the kids It's usually around recess when we were walking over there, so they were always playing out in the yard. So that was a more recent memory. And so besides her telling us all the time that she was strong, because she goes up and down the stairs, like 20 times a day, so she could walk. And, a little bit of exaggeration. So there's some of the memories I have. Obviously there's a lot more, and I couldn't tell you all of the memories I have of her because it's probably thousands and thousands. But yeah, she will be missed by myself, and I think of her frequently. This poster that Mia made, she was nice enough to make a copy, and I have it in my place too. So otherwise, I think that's all I have to say for now. We'll go to Nellie then.
I had to write it out because I can't remember it. These are my memories, so you may not be behind. Everybody starts off with some kind of dream of what their life will be. Some things, even the smallest thing, can circumvent your plans into unexpected journeys that can be life-changing. Everyone present is here because of Romelia's courage, resilience, and God's grace. I don't know if I can read it.
Okay, sometimes just let it out. Cry a little bit and we'll give it a little space and we can move on. Sometimes it's that overwhelming grief. Give it a moment. Take a deep breath in and out. And you
I
can
guess you
continue.
can't go on and you want us to read it.
Romelia enriched her life and ours with her dreams. Romelia Espino Quiñones Arellano had loving, endearing aliases. Mama, Mom, Senora, Senorita, Mama, Quiñones, Mother Dear, Mother Dearest, Lita, Tia, and Roma. Romelia was my mama, my senorita, my mom. Romelia's life began with hardship. Her mother died when Romelia was less than 5 years old. So Romelia and her two siblings were raised by her father and her tias. When her father passed a few years later, Romelia and her siblings became wards of the tias, who were not loving, kind, thoughtful beings. Romelia reminded us often that as a child, she was hungry, deprived, and ignored. Yet, in spite of her terrible youth, Romelia metamorphosed into a kind, beautiful, tenacious, wise teenager with a loving heart. When Romelia was 18 years old, she met our father, Gilberto. Then, as a 19-year-old bride, in 1954, Romelia and Gilberto immigrated to the United States to build their dream life together. After settling in Los Angeles, Romelia became mama to 4 children, born 2 to 3 years apart. However, as we all know, within 10 years of their marriage, in June 1964, her husband, our father, would die in an auto accident. Our mama became a widow at 30 years of age. Gil Jr. was almost 10. I was 8. Armida was 5. And Leonor was 2.5. To sustain her family to the best of her ability with courage and integrity, our mama persevered, and as our mom and dad. And she made a lot of choices and sacrifices along the way, both known and unknown. Our mama had true grit and fortitude. Our mama had the foresight to buy a triplex property with our father's life insurance policy. We lived in one unit while collecting rent from the other units. Her tenants called her Senora. Our Senora's work ethic was extraordinary. As she managed the units, we learned new skills like cleaning, repairing, patching, and painting. We made things nicer around us, and we got the job done. Our Senora was not an absent or greedy landlord. Many times the rentals were to our extended families. For many years, for example, Mom's niece, Esperanza, lived in the back unit with her family, and Mom's nephew, Jesus Hidalma, lived in the studio. Our senorina was a multitasker chameleon with a ton of energy. When we were young, we had to practically run alongside Mom when we walked with her. She walked really fast. She made many life-changing adjustments to enhance her life. She attended classes for English, to learn how to drive, to pursue a career as a nurse's aide, and to obtain U.S. citizenship. She worked, went to school, managed the household, provided for her kids, and continued to be our mom and dad. Signorina demonstrated to us that dreams could turn into reality. Our Signorina believed in herself, and she believed in us. Mom was extraordinarily resourceful and thrifty. I learned how to stretch a dollar from Mom's attention to detail. We shopped the sales, bought in bulk whenever possible, and visited the thrift shops regularly. Our mom knew fashion. She loved to shop, and she always maintained her chicness. We never looked like we were wearing hand-me-downs. I still remember Mom's soft whistle when she was concentrating. Do you remember that, guy? She whistled as she checked the quality of the thrift store clothing that we selected for ourselves while she purchased them. With seamstress talents and her sewing machine, she often tailored clothing to fit us. She sewed things for our house, too. She taught me how to hand sew and machine sew. Mom was also blessed with creativity. Our mom would spend time with us as children, sketching and drawing on paper with pencil. And to our delight, she could draw people's faces and bodies really well. There was always crayons, colored pencils, coloring books, activity books, and plain paper for us. I especially liked it when we played with paper dolls, and she would help me create original paper clothes, stylish, vibrant colored patterns for my paper dolls. Our mom loved music very well. Mom's favorite were rancheras, salsa, cumbias, but Mom also appreciated our father's jazz collection of 33s, like Goodman, Ellington, Miller, and Armstrong. Her varied music interests may have been influenced by our father. My father had bought this humongous beast of a stereo record player. Picture a small apartment-sized refrigerator turned on its side where he played those 33s. And I remember one afternoon in the spring of 1964, our father driving with Mom in the front and Leo on her lap. I was sitting with Gilberto and Armida in the back seat of our car as I looked out the window while a Beatles song played on the radio. Those music experiences led us to 93 KHJ radio without judgment from Mom. And when I played my own 33s and 45s on that beast, Mom never once said, "Turn that thing down," or "Stop playing that thing over and over." Our Southgate home was mostly tuned to the Spanish radio station when Mom was there, though. During the chores, Mom would belt out the song she knew with the bravado of an opera singer, and she was never ever off key. Her melodious voice was engaging and soothing. She even let out a grito every now and then during a mariachi song. You know what I mean. You guys have heard them. Cries of utmost expression when the song hits your heart. Mama was fiercely patriotic. She had great pride in her dual citizenship, and she voted in every election cycle. She even worked several times as an election day poll worker. Small aside, back in the day, Mama was a Ross Perot supporter and volunteered her time on his presidential campaign. Mama recognized the opportunities U.S. citizens had and would oftentimes philosophically compare herself to her Mexican family counterparts. You all remember while in her 30s and 40s, in the mid-50s to late 70s, Mom witnessed magnificent civil and women's rights progress. Her patriotism was infectious and it inspired me. It was sometime during her nursing career that Romelia started introducing herself as Roma. When retirement came, Roma divided her time between the 5 city-managed senior centers, 3 in Berkeley, 1 in Emeryville, and 1 in Oakland, and at St. John's Senior Center, too, where she did her ceramics. Each senior center had their nuances, and Roma had many interests. Roma pursued creative endeavors in oil, acrylic, and water painting, hand-thrown ceramic pieces, stringing her own bead necklaces, making decorative pins and earrings. She also repurposed grocery plastic bags to make useful handbags. As Roma became more involved with her senior friends, she started volunteering at rummage, bake, and book sales and serving lunches to other seniors. She often gave car rides to and from the centers to her friends. She also weekly would take and chart her friends' blood pressures. It wasn't long before Roma joined her friends on Bay Area day trips and soon enough became an intrepid traveler around the globe. As Roma eased away from her travels and her social life, once it became apparent that she had dementia, Roma continued to see some friends, and we went to the senior centers for events, lunch, exercise classes, and for water aerobics with me and Mark. As Romelia got weaker, less cognitive, and needed more attention, just as she had been there for us, her children were there for her, with our dear sister Armida taking the brunt of the work. I'm putting that out, that super love lace kudos to Armida right now because I know, and it was not pretty or much acknowledged. Romelia would often say, Dios te lo va a pagar, and que Dios te bendiga, whenever she felt like she was a burden. When we were youngsters, Romelia was always thanking Nuestro Dios, Jesus Cristo, for situations or things. You all know she was raised by Catholics and then became Methodist alongside our father. And when our father passed, at my Tío Enrique's urging, we all became Jehovah's Witnesses. After her children rebelled and said, no! Remember, I was in junior high and everyone was younger. Romelia disconnected from organized religion, but her faith to God was constant through her life. When Mom and I sat together in our backyard garden, Mom would often speak with me about Nuestro Dios and would share instances on how God had graced her life and her family. For decades, Romelia, among others here, accompanied Mark and me to celebratory church services, like Easter and Christmas, but only in the last few months of her life did Romelia attend weekly church services with us. She enjoyed the music and told me so after every song. When Pastor Max visited Romelia in her bed a week before she passed, she straightened up as much as she could and listened intently with eyes wide open. While Pastor Max spoke with her in Espanol, he recounted her generous and blessed life and thanked her for her love and commitment to her family, to God, and for the glorious journey she and God had shared. I don't think Romelia had much regret in her life. Romelia wasn't a timid or reserved being. Romelia participated wholeheartedly in this world's magnificence and glory as a testament to God's plan. She lived her life fully, with friends, with joy, with laughter, trust, sarcasm, hoarding tendencies, with tremendous, amazing faith, with her family by her side. She had grace, strength, humility, and new love beyond all understanding. As the eldest daughter, Mom was really tough on me, but I am today this being because of who my mom was. I will forever cherish her unconditional love, her encouragement, her I can do it reflexes, and the core values I absorbed by being in her presence. We can all learn from her incredible life. I sure have. Dearly departed Mama, eternal rest, peace, and comfort to you. You are now with our Father, your brother and sister, your parents. Thank you so much for the choices you made in your life journey. Thank you for your love and friendship. I hope you know how much you meant to each one of us, and especially how your dreams nourished us and empowered us to cultivate our own dreams. May Romelia's memory be a blessing to us all.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Amen. I learned many things from Mom that resonates with me. I'm going to share two characteristics that she instilled in me. One, I learned about commitment and love for family. Mom was very strong and loyal to her family, her kids and her sister, Celia, her cousins, in Diamond Bar, in San Pablo, meant the world for her. I remember we were trying out for Family Feud 40 years ago. And the host inquired, tell me about yourself. She went on about her kids, even though we'd already introduced ourselves. The host asked again, Mom, tell us about yourself. She went on again about her kids. We were her life, and she demonstrated that daily. She was also a mama bear, very protective of her children. She was concerned someone could take advantage of us at any time, and she was always on the alert. For example, Dolores, one of my friends, would always come to pick me up when we went out. Once I shared I'm going to pick her up. She jumped in. Why can't she come pick you up? That's a long way for you to go to pick her up. But that was her. Another Mama Bear incident illustrated her love and her commitment to her children. One of her hobbies was shopping. Although her children were now adults, we had moved out of the casa. Her thoughts of her children were never far from her mind. She was constantly sending us care packages full of clothing items. We called them MBs for Mom Bot. We knew she sent them with love. Often Dolores would say, "Hey, that's a nice shirt. Where'd you get it?" We'd just say MB. She goes, "Oh, that said it all." 36 years ago, she moved here for her family, her kids. It's not easy to uproot oneself at 55 years old. She uprooted her home, her boyfriend, friends, and work to be near her kids. She was living in Southgate and we were in Berkeley. It was time to make the move. And the second thing she instilled in me was her resilience, the power of hope and the beauty of life. During her life, she would repeatedly pull herself up again and again. Life was tough and unfair to her, but she didn't dwell on it. She didn't accept the other F word, failure. It was part of the process. It meant she had to try another route, another path. She kept moving forward. She never gave up. Failure was not an option. She positively and confidently would move on and look to the future. She never let fear take over. When her husband died and left her with 4 kids under 12, with one still in diapers, she picked us up and moved to Southgate with her near her living sister, and she never looked back. She had to learn to speak and write in English, get a job, raise her 4 kids by herself. She kept her head up and kept moving forward, and she never gave up. I remember another episode. Early on, she purchased her first car. Unfortunately, she didn't know how to drive. I remember her practicing with me in the back seat, and maybe Gilbert was in the front seat. We didn't have seat belts back then. I remember I was bouncing up and down, being jerked front and back as she learned how to maneuver the gas pedal and the brake pedal. Yet she never gave up. When she had to work in a factory she didn't like, she started working nights so she could go to school in the day, so she could become a practical nurse, now called a certified nurse's aide. She never gave up. She kept moving forward. Another final example was her new boss was bullying her. She didn't let it get to her. She was 62 years old, so she decided she'd retire. She didn't dwell on it. She didn't get depressed. She just kept moving forward. That's when she began to travel. She traveled the world. She loved visiting new places, new cultures, new food. There was always another city to enjoy. So I'll always remember her resilience and how she kept trying and never gave up. She always had hope for her children. Although she was not a religious person, she was spiritual. She believed that good would prevail and hope would cherish another day. She exuded confident expectation of hope and God meshed into one. She would not have enjoyed the fuss we were making for her. For her, she would have enjoyed the family time though. The get together. She lived, breathed, and loved her family. With her passing, Mom is leaving behind a legacy of kindness, compassion, and generosity. So we say goodbye, know that her spirit will continue to live on in the garden of our memories, in the bloom of every flower, in the rustle of every leaf, every plane that zooms by, in the sun rays that shines on our faces, the peaceful shine that moves with the wind, the puffy white clouds and the blue sky will always remind us of her. Rest in peace, Mom, Mother dear. You will be missed. I say thank you for being our mom.
I would just like to point out that it's appropriate that the sun is shining today because Lita loves sitting in the sun.
She did.
And as I reflect on my mom, I realize that she had a very blessed life. Romelia, as we all lovingly called her, Lita, lived a full life. She never thought she would reach the age of 90, but God works in mysterious and glorious ways. Perhaps Lita thought her life would be shorter, since she was surrounded by death into her 30s. Her early life was filled with tragedy. She experienced heartbreak at 3 years old when she lost her mother, at 9 years old when she lost her father, and at age 31 when she lost her husband, our father. But God is good. In the face of tragedy, after the passing of her husband, God helped Lita overcome her losses. He helped her stand. He gave her strength, and he helped her improve herself in ways no ordinary person could. She learned English as her second language. She obtained a driver's license and went to night school, earned a nursing aid degree, and she raised 4 children on her own under the age of 9. Lita's early life was filled with unbelievable loss. But because God blessed my mother with 4 relatively well-behaved kids who loved and respected her, her children gave her life meaning, and we made her proud. She gave us love, and we used that love to excel in our own lives. As adults, we continue to love and support our mom. All the while, Lita continued to love us. Then she loved our children and their children, her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren. Although Lita felt alone and unloved as a child, God made sure as an adult Romelia was surrounded by love. Even though it seemed God had abandoned my mom as a child, looking back on Lita's life, I see now God had a plan, and that plan included love, lots of love from her children, sister, brother, in-laws, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Even though Lita didn't feel loved as a young person, she had so much love to give. Lita was kind, generous, and loved everyone unconditionally. And she was ultimately blessed with a life of love from her family that loved her very much. God is good. I wrote the following poem for Lita in 1981 when I went away to college. I wrote it so she would know that I missed her and loved her very much. Today, as my mom is among the angels, I hope she still knows that I appreciate the love that she gave me, the father of my children, my kids, my grandkids, and I hope she knows that I will always love her very much. Sin ti, no estaría aquí. Con tu ayuda era posible seguir. Todo el amor que me enseñaste, nunca lo olvidaré. Y por eso, en las nubes quisiera estar, para verte, para saber si estás triste, para poder contentarte, para saber si te ríes, para tener parte en tu alegría, para saber si necesitas algo, para poder ayudarte, y especialmente para poder cuidarte, porque eres una bendición preciosa que Dios me quiso dar. Descanse en paz eternamente, Mom. I love you very much.
Okay, all right. Does anybody else want to say anything?
Yeah, I want to. Like my mom saying, Me and brother, she loved the sun, and I always remember when I used to walk lucky, when I still walk lucky, um, she's sitting out there, and every time I come back, she's just in that chair. So, probably the biggest memory I have of her. Always smart. Never
Yeah, take a deep breath. We can do it.
Me and Bella, my role model, the leader that held my family together since I was a baby. In all of the 31 years of my life, my grandma was such a profound influencer on all levels. Whether it was watching me and my sisters after school until to my mom picked us up after work, making me some of her good Mexican specialties or just her enjoyable avocado and tortilla snacks with a pinch of salt. All the times mi abuela took me and my sisters to the park, the zoo, her Easter egg hunts in the backyard, her just holding me, sisters, so we wouldn't cry, or me and my grandma just talking back and forth through the styrofoam cup with a string through it were some of the best times I had with mi abuela. I can go on and on about all the best times and memories and good times I had with mi abuela. I'm not gonna ever forget each day and each second, all the laughs I had with mi abuela. Mi abuela was so kind, caring, and the most lovable grandma. A grandma anybody can ask for. This last part.
Take a deep breath.
Don't fight, let it just come, and then you'll read. You'll read.
A grandma from classic movies. A grandma you can never forget no matter what age you are. I promise I'll never forget all you have done to shape me the person I am today, mi abuela, and promise to make you so proud one day. Te amo mucho, mi abuela. May you rest in paradise.
My job. I do. I have something more. Okay. Dear Lisa, we are here today to remember light and love and all that you are. We are here to honor you and how that love and light has impacted us to be who we are today. Those who were lucky to know your laugh and sarcastic humor knew of the joy with which you carried yourself in this world. To get to know my Lita, I have to give you a glimpse of how I knew her when I was little. I remember when I was 2 or 3 years old, and this is when I can remember starting to call you Lita because I couldn't muster the syllables abuelita just yet. But Lita is what stuck. My little self clung to you since then. Because you were a safe place. Thank you. You have been Lita ever since, and every one of your grandchildren called you that from then on. I remember whenever my parents would tell me and my brother and sister we were going to your house, it was just excitement. Your house smelled of flowers and wonder. There were beautiful Diego Rivera paintings against rust-like painted walls with beautiful colors. Tons of flowers and plants that thrived lined the walls and window panes. Your home was like a second home to me. I remember we would play tag and hide and go seek in your 2-bedroom apartment and run in circles through the kitchen, around your bedroom. My sister and I would wear your heels and jewelry and pretend to be you. We admired your style and elegance. You always had nice things. I remember you would take me to your senior citizen classes off MLK, and I met all your friends who adored you. I was just happy to be there and could tell you were too. I remember whenever we got sick and our parents took us to your house that you would take the best care of us. You had all the best remedies and would check on me so often to rub my head and scratch my scalp with the flick of your nails together. Excuse me. I remember how you would be silly and sing and whistle so good. You would tell me what the birds were saying, and I would believe you and just think you were so magical. I remember walking to your house after school, all through middle school and high school. You always cooked, and we would read the comics, an after-school ritual, if you will. I remember your stories of your past and the detail in which you described your best friend and how you met Gilbert Sr. You always smiled while describing him, but I could also see the pain in your eyes, which let me know how much you missed him. I met him through your stories. I remember our last big trip in 2015, you and me on that cruise to Ensenada. I remember being so excited because at that point, you have already traveled the world, far and near, and you would bring back little knickknacks and show me pictures. We had a great time at the dinners and shows, and it was the first time I told you I was in a relationship with a woman. The nerves were there, but you told me you already knew and smiled. I'll never forget that, and always remember how your love never faltered for me or for anyone else in this family. Lastly, I remember that when your dementia started to set in, I guess around 2019, you would always ask me after my initial breakup, have you met your Prince Charming yet? I would say no. You would always immediately reassure me and say, it's fine, you have time, and they will come when you least expect it. I thought it was funny and sweet, like, yeah, Lita, we will see. Due to being fed up at that point with dating, but finally, I did meet my charming Jasmine, who in fact came when I least expected it. I'm so honored that you were able to meet them and know you were so right. I tried my best to continue to show the love you showed me in my childhood up until your last days. You truly were one of my favorite people. A true Capricorn queen. You taught me the meaning of loyalty from such a young age, of how to show up for your loved ones, and how to not let ego or pride get in the way. You raised 4 children by yourself in a country so new. You succeeded by far and became such a pillar of support, inspiration, and love for all of us. I know for a fact you have strengthened my foundation to be able to survive in this beautiful, scary world with my sensitive self, and I'm forever thankful. It fills me with such joy and gratitude that we got so much time together, you and me. We had a special bond, and I'm so happy we made so many beautiful memories and that you are now at peace. I knew you were tired and you held on as long as you could. Thank you for everything, your love, your time, your dedication, and love for life. You held this family together, and I will honor you in everything I do. I'll always be your numero uno, and I'll always miss you. I love you, Lita.
Marisol, do you want to say something? You got to unmute.
I know how to work this. I didn't prepare anything, but I thank you all for sharing all of your stories about Lita. They were all very special. Great to hear them. My daughters are sort of listening in, sort of doing their own thing. And I'm sure that they're listening in and hearing these stories too. Quinn got to meet her. Sloan never did, but I'm really grateful that she got to meet Lisa at least a little bit.
Mark, we can't hear very well.
Volume? Or is that the
TV volume? Okay. Hold on. Okay.
Could be, Mama. Here's this go and this go.
Those are your cousins.
But I don't know the name.
Everybody tell her
That's
your
your
name.
cousins. And it's both of them because it's a kitty.
Hi.
Everybody give her your name. She said, I know them, but I don't know their name.
Oh,
Deal, deal.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's Ma.
Leonora. And Chiquita.
Mommy.
this is your little cousin Cairo.
Say hi.
Stop, stop.
I'm cousin Moke.
Stop.
Hi, I'm cousin Shiwa.
Stop.
I'm Jasmine. That's all.
Okay.
And I'm cousin Grampy.
Yeah, she's
All
not.
right, so we're gonna move on then. Thank you, Marty, for sharing, for coming in and joining us. Mark, do you want to say a prayer now? I thought that was-
Yes, Mark has.
the blessing of the ashes. Mark, you want to say, well, Gilbert, do you want to, so we have,
You want to say anything about Grandma?
I had planned to, yes.
okay.
So I'm new to this rodeo. I only knew Roma, Lita, Senora, Mom for 22 years. So in those 22 years, I had a lot of really incredible experiences, and just a few basics. The water aerobics. That was so incredible and so much fun. And for her, she just had such a great time in that water, and she completely had control. But it was just really a wonderful, wonderful experience that I got to share with her. And I still have our passes. We have about 4 visits left, and I tried to get her to understand she needed to go back. But I couldn't go in the locker room with her, so that wasn't going to happen. That's fine. That's fine. And then the senior center, don't worry about that.
It's not working.
It's not on.
Okay.
The senior citizens events, going to the lunches and, to different things. That was always a joy. And Nellie mentioned the election poll workers. I worked with her a number of times, and started out, she was assigned to my poll, but when she stopped working and stopped doing it, she was my ace in the hole. When I was short of people, you can do all kinds of things to actually hire someone. And so you could literally pick someone out of the line and appoint them. And so I would call her and say, Roma, come on down. And she would come over to Willard and work the polls with us. So she worked for me a number of times. That was really, really special. And one of the greatest things that she brought to us was the 20s. And that was every day after school. Every day they came here. We got that blessing. She took care of them every day after school, but we got the reward of coming home and knowing that they were here. That was just such a special thing. And watching your relationship with her was wonderful. But for me, it was like, yes, we did nothing for this, and we just got the treat.
Oh, and just to clarify, the 20s are all 3 of you.
Oh, okay.
We would always refer to you.
Well, you should always know that, because that was all the way any of you were ever described.
Yeah.
Your parents were described as the 20s.
No.
That's just the reality. And then when I would come home from work, I didn't see this part of it. I just heard about this part of it, because she would Nellie be out working in the garden, and she would be telling her, your husband's coming home. You can't wear those clothes. You need to change and get ready for your husband. So that was always kind of a crazy thing. And then one of my favorite memories was the Reader's Digest. when we both loved the Reader's Digest, and I really enjoyed reading hers after she was done with it. That was as far as that went. And at some point, as dementia took over, she concluded that I was stealing her Reader's Digest magazine. And she would accuse me of that repeatedly. And the best part was when she came to me and she brought me the bill, and she said, here's the bill for Reader's Digest. And I said, okay. And she said, well, you're reading it, you may as well pay for it. And threw it at me. And I will never look at a Reader's Digest, without a lot of joy. And the joy that she brought, I'll share more in the prayer, but she really brought this group together. We owe her a lot, and I'm grateful.
We have the blessing of the ashes, and what we have here under the flowers, we have also some Gilbert's urine. We have Nellie's urine. We also
Gilbert's urn, not urn.
urn. That's urn. I said urn.
It sounded
I
like
said
urine.
Urn.
Like we're yearning for urine.
Okay, so on these flowers, I have 4 flowers here to depict her 4 children, and then there's 7 of these for her grandchildren. And underneath, I coated them with honey and coated her ashes on them. And so what we're going to do is after, Gilbert also has some holy water he's going to press over, he got from the church. And we were at Emerald, we're going to drop them off in the water. Because flowers are biodegradable, but honey is also a super nutrient for fish. So it would be a win-win for everyone. Because she loved flowers, and she loved going to Emeryville with Gilbert.
Yeah,
She
the
loved
last few years I took her walking all the time, and we walked on the pier. If you're familiar with Emeryville Harbor, there's a pier behind the boat.
So that's what we're gonna do now. Go Gilbert, go ahead and put the she's gonna sprinkle the ashes, the holy water onto the flowers, and then Gilbert and I or anybody else who wants to go.
Yeah, by the way, on this,
Or you can just take one with you and do what you want with it.
yeah, the holy water is available to everybody in the church. They even had a little urn with a little spigot, and they'd often give us little containers like this with holy water to take home to bless our homes. And I think I gave one to you guys once.
We did. You blessed our home for us.
So this is from our church holy water. It's been blessed, and obviously I'm not a pastor or a priest, but I'm sure they would just say in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I just, I don't know.
Flowers,
I
just
just
flowers.
hit the flowers. Oh, there's still a lot more of them.
So get on the flowers.
And so that there's still a little bit more.
That's good.
Okay, Mark, want to say a prayer now?
Sure.
And then we'll sing happy birthday.
Your front hand. Jasmine,
I have
can you?
holy water in
Yes.
my hand.
Good. I
Okay.
got it on you now.
Okay.
Dear God, got us all that is, wherever we choose to leave our faith. Roma, Senora, Lita, later Mom. And I know my siblings are always surprised when I refer to her as Mom, because they don't see that coming. She brought us together today, but she's brought us together all along. She had a harsh side, not always a smile when she spoke, but the pleasant nature was there. And what she did was she taught us how important we all are to each other. She taught us that being near, being close, and caring for each other is one of the most important things that we could do. She took the time with each of us differently to somehow let us know how important that was. And those last months of her life, when her children were so much around her, each day brought her a different joy. Gilbert was coming to go drive over and hang out at Willard. Nora was coming to take her to lunch or to a number of different joyous things. Nellie had those days with her that they were in the garden, taking walks, just spending the day together. And Mia had night and day with Mom. Those times were, I think, her final message to us all, that we needed to not just be here to be with her, but her family needs to be together always. In the time that we've waited for this day, when we would finally share these blessings and these words, the pain, the suffering has been continuous. And right now, Roma has mixed feelings. She is so excited to see us all together. So excited. But the pain that we exhibit is breaking her heart. She needs so much, dear God, for us to move forward in joy and celebration as we remember her life, the gifts that she gave us each and every day of each other. And that when we think of her, those tears are tears of joy, not of sadness. We take just a moment, just a second, to reflect on my sister-in-law Ginger, who died yesterday out of the blue, totally unexpected. We had so much time with Roma. We were so blessed. And the message that Ginger's passing gives to all of us, that could have been any one of us. So the time that we have for each other is now. And dear God, please keep us together, keep those lines strong, keep that family that Roma, as Gil said, will join us every time. Keep us together, keep us close, and keep that love strong. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. So now these are, you want to light the
I
candles?
do.
I'm going to sing happy birthday.
So-
Today is her birthday.
This is remind Mark.
And
I'll
there's,
walk
you'll
over
see
there.
there's all these sweets and candy.
This is convenient.
Again, she loves sweets and candy. I had to lock the
This is
things
for all
up
of your
because she
family
couldn't
who brought
stop.
out. But we're gonna light the candle first. Where is the candle? I mean, you know what? I'll just do this. Sorry.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. Ready to do that one?
We did it.
Okay, so
You guys got to blow it.
okay, so we're gonna sing Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Senora. Happy birthday to you.
Who's Cola?
Lita.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2,
Yeah, yeah.
three.